And we are
Good
live.
morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Aha Moment. My name is Yogesh Kapoor and I am a communications coach. I help people be more confident in their public speaking, presentation skills, and just to be you. And I have with me my very good friend, my accountability partner, my what should I say? She means a lot to me. Grace, so amazing. Grace, let's welcome back you to the show like we do every week and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, beautiful people. It's the weekend. Woo! Thank God it's Friday and I'm so excited. Yes, my name is Grace So Amazing. I am a physicist and a life coach. Thank you, Yogesh, my friend, my colleague, and my partner in personal development. I'm so excited to be here. So what are your plans for the weekend? What do you have planned for this weekend?
My plans are very simple: work, my speaking club, and then work again.
Work
Not
again.
much of a break this weekend because I'll be traveling soon, so I have a lot of catching up to do.
Okay. So what's one thing, okay, that you would be doing to give yourself a little tender, loving care? A little at least, even though in the midst of all the work, a little bit of tender, loving care to Yogesh for being so amazing all through the week, for being able to do your work and everything. What would you give to yourself?
Ah, something I haven't done in a long time and I love doing is go watch a movie.
Okay.
I've been dying to watch Inside Out 2 because the whole movie is about emotions. And, I haven't
Inside
seen
out.
part one, Inside Out
Inside
2.
out.
Yeah,
Inside
part
out.
two.
What's wrong with the part one? Can I at least see the part one first?
I haven't seen part one. That's why I'm delaying watching part two.
So why don't you see Inside Out Part 1, then you can go see Part 2.
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to do that tomorrow, watch one. So on Sunday, I can watch two. And if I have extra time, I'll go watch the second movie because I love movie marathons. They give
Nice.
me, they put me away from the world in the world of storytelling. And you know me, I love storytelling, speaking, observing, learning. So for me, what about you? What is one thing you're going to do self care for yourself?
Thank you. I thought you'd never ask. And let me sit very well while I say that. So, this weekend, there is going to be a program for women to get connected to themselves holistically, meaning that there is going to be like a retreat, a 1 day retreat for women to nurture. And so I'm looking forward to it. I don't know exactly what it will be, but I know that the whole thing is about us coming together to be nurtured. Let me just quickly see is the nudge to bloom ladies retreat. Heal your emotions, live a joyful, transformed life. So that's the theme. So I'm just anticipating because self-care to me is anytime I get the opportunity to pour into me and to connect with my inner self, which is making me feel so excited already because of the topic we have today. Yee, let's talk about what we have today.
So today we're going to continue with speaking about wellness and health. But today we're going to be focusing on spiritual health. So, what does spiritual health mean to you, Grace?
Okay. All right. So in simple terms, or a recap, if you've not seen, so this is a series. If you're just watching this one, you might want to go backwards to the first video. We started talking about health, which was physical health. We've done mental health, and today we're going to be talking about spiritual health. And I particularly love this because for me, it is what I call connection to something higher than myself. That sense of purpose, that sense of inner peace. I've tied all of them together to itemize them as what spiritual health means to me. The health that I have to link with my inner, my beliefs, my values, my my um my source, my source. That's the word I've been looking for. You know, how I'm able to, as a matter of fact, I think spiritual health is very important for the other parts to function very well. So I'm throwing the same question back at you. What is spiritual health to you?
I think spiritual health to me is very simple, is being connected, you know,
Mm,
is just being connected with source, with yourself, with nature, as a whole. Because mental health is more about the mind, right? Physical health is more about your body, what you eat, how you work out, all of that stuff. But spiritual health is connection, right?
mm,
Whether it's your connection with God, whichever God you believe in, right? Whatever you call God, universe, Buddha, Allah, Jesus, whatever it is, right? It's connection with yourself. Sometimes we lose connection with ourselves. We never look inward,
mm.
right? We don't even know who we are sometimes. We get lost. And that's why we have no sense of anything. We're just like, and like, it could be the simplest thing, connection with nature.
Yeah.
If you've seen a lot of people, they go into nature, they go within, they connect to source. That's the best time actually, because you've silenced everything, right? You're out of your four walls, you're out of your office, you're out of everything, and you feel connected. Now, I think it's hard to explain what connection is, but I think you get what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Hmm. I get it, and
So,
I get it. Yes, I get what you're talking about. Yeah. Go on.
yeah, so I'll give you a simple example. I never used to pray, okay? I wasn't the type growing up praying or any of that stuff, okay? I just used to feel, if I felt something, like I felt, connection, I would feel it, right? I didn't need to pray to feel connected.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Because I
I
was
get
already
it.
connected. It's
Mm,
when you're disconnected, you feel you need the need to reconnect. So that's when you get into prayer, meditation, all of that, which is not right or wrong. There's no right or wrong about it. It's just that as long as you feel connected,
mm,
you know?
nice.
And earlier I mentioned to you, I love watching movies,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
I would, as a 10-year-old, wait for the latest movie to come. And I would go the first day. If it's a holiday, I would go watch the first show in the morning. If it's not,
Mm,
I would go evening, watch it. And I would be in a state of flow from the point I decide I want to go watch the movie till I finish watching the movie. Like my mind would be so like in the present moment,
yeah.
you know. But as you grow old and we face life, then I got into the whole connection with source, with God,
Mm,
whatever you want to name it, you know. And I saw the miracles. Like I would say, help me out with this, and things would happen.
mm,
Things would happen. And I think every human being has that connection when we're born.
Yeah.
When we're kids, we have that connection. We're connected. We're always connected. Think about it. A child is born, he doesn't have to do anything. He's fed, he's taken care of, right? All of that. How does it happen? Not just because, like he comes from that connection.
Yeah. Nice. Oh,
It's
when
just
I
that
say
as we grow up, we have too
that's
many
my
layers, too many.
aha, that's my aha.
But we come
Yeah.
to life, then we grow up, then things happen, da 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 da, da, and it all adds up. And then we lose connection. That we lose connection mainly because the ego comes in place.
Yeah.
I am doing this, right? We want to force things. We want things our way. It has to happen this way.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of just going with the flow and being connected to source, when you're spiritually connected, there is no fear or doubt. Those words don't exist when you're connected,
That's
you
right.
know, right? And I've seen that with you. I mean, I've learned that from you when every time I've heard you pray or talk about it, you, I've never heard doubt in your voice. And you've caught me there at times. You've told me, Yogesh, you sound very negative, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, for you, Grace, what is it that makes you feel connected?
Prayer. Prayer and what I call prayer is communication. Communication where I got the aha from you when you talked about already being born into source. You're connected to source, right? I got my aha from there, but I am taking it forward. When I realized prayer, what prayer meant, I knew that daily we are praying. Everything we say from our mouths, we are praying, we are commanding, we are giving instructions. So what I do with prayers, I am intentional about it, connecting to source, and first and foremost, acknowledging that I'm not here by myself, that I'm from I'm from somewhere. I'm definitely from somewhere. And if I'm from somewhere, then someone is or something or a system is connected to me through several means, right? So that knowledge and acceptance is where I derive my strength from, knowing that if my earthly parents can look out for me, if my earthly parents can be interested in my well-being, my welfare, then for some reason, I know that I have a source that I may not see, but I feel and I know lives on the inside of me. So, because I know that when I pray, I am communicating with that power and source that dwells inside of me. And I think I'm in my best moment when I'm praying because for me, I may not even talk, but I'm just connected. And when I'm in that space, I feel peaceful. I feel strong that there is nothing that I'm not able to achieve. So I've been able to use that to build my sense of meaning, knowing that I am connected to a creator that, created the heavens and the earth and all the beautiful things that I can see. Even though I'm not able to see or hold my hand to, a divine being, I just know that I am part of it. I am part of source. I am connected to source. So with that knowledge, I just sometimes I feel that I can do anything I choose to do, anything I want to achieve. I just have that meaning inside of me, that assurance inside of me. So pretty much I would say that I just know that I'm connected to something higher than myself, and that thing is lying within me, not anywhere outside of me. It's right inside of me. So I believe that there is a God that has me right within me. That's what I believe. So there's that inner peace that I always get when I am in that space. When I want to weigh off, when I want to do things on my own and I want to rely on the physical strength that I have, I just plug into my inner strength. And the inner strength, the spiritual, that's where we're going to talk about spiritual health. Why you need to acknowledge or understand that, look, it's on the inside and it's greater than you can even imagine. So that's what I would say. Being connected to source for me is what gives me the strength that I have.
Now, a lot of people, they are physically well, they are mentally well, but they are not spiritually well, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying they have to pray to a certain God, but they're not connected.
Yeah.
And it affects when you are imbalanced,
Yeah.
right? Because I've seen a lot of people, they overwork themselves, they do everything, but for some reason, they are not happy still. It's not about the money. It's not about how their body is or health is. They're fine with that.
Yeah.
Mentally, they're fine. But there's something they feel they are lacking. And
Mm.
I used to really think about this a lot. I'm like, everything is fine, but why am I feeling uneasy? Why am I feeling something is missing? And that's when
Mm.
I realized, oh, it's that connection, right? I don't have connection with myself anymore. Because when I don't have connection with myself, I won't have connection with source, right? I am one with source,
That's right.
right? And that's when I do the things that make me connected again. Like some of the practices I do nowadays, like for a long time I stopped doing, was I just sit in silence. I try
Mm.
not let the thoughts, like even if negative, positive, whatever thoughts are coming, I just let it flow. I don't like let just give 5 minutes of silence and just calm and breathe.
Mm.
You know, you get you realize you get connected. Or I go to a park and then I go barefoot on the grass. And no matter how hot it is that day, I'm actually surprised it's 40 degrees here in China, the city I'm in. And I'm up north. It's supposed to be colder, but it's
Yeah.
40, and I'm like, yeah. But still, for me it's okay because I've lived in Dubai and I've faced more heat, so I enjoy the sun because the sun makes me feel connected. The
Mm.
sun makes me feel connected. I feel, nature. I ground my energy by walking on the grass, right? We as humans are not supposed to wear shoes, by the way. That's another reason we are disconnected. And it's so funny. I was thinking of an idea of making a shoe that's more, you know, grounded, like to the earth. And suddenly it popped up on my Instagram. Like, this is a shoe which is like, I was like, interesting. I was thinking about it and it showed up, you
By the
know.
way, I we uh, there's a lot. We talked about the frequencies and tuning into certain things. Nowadays, you don't need to talk. It's just hovering as a frequency, and before you know it, boom, you know you get to see some of these things online, and I'm like, okay, before they would say it's when you're talking about the thing, when you're talking about it and you've clicked the cookie. I mean, it's a cookie thing and everything, but hell no, I'm just thinking about it. I've not even voiced it out. How did they get to know that, right? And then, you know, there's a whole lot to learn. There's a whole lot to learn. And just saying what you said, I'm very happy that you mentioned it, because recently something happened and someone was telling me how a friend was was successful. There was money, there was a lot to, there was money, physical money, there was money, but there was this disconnection that this person just couldn't point his fingers on. He was like, I don't know what is wrong with me. I can't point my hands. I just don't know what it is, right? And it's just so interesting to know that we have all agreed, in the sense that some people don't believe that there is a God or there is anything, and I respect them for that. So what I usually say is, whatever works for you, if you know you don't believe in anything, and but you're grounded, you feel grounded. You don't have to say that you believe in anything or believe in it for it to exist or not to exist, or for it to be there. You don't have to. For some people that still, operate in the level of, they believe in God, they just know that there's something higher than them, they just know that there is a source. It could be a belief system that works for them. It could be a belief system that grounds them, because it's the grounding. When you know that you have something or someone or something, a source that's watching over you, you'll be conscious of being grounded. There's some things that you may want to do without, now this is not being moral, this is not even a moral conversation now, because most times I think the problem with certain people and connecting with source, it's because of some religious connotations that has restricted some people from doing certain things. So for me, what I always say, another way that I stay connected to source and how I make sure that my spiritual health is on point, is nature. Because I'm part of nature, and because I'm part of nature, I also know that nature is where I can look for anything that I'm confused. And it's so interesting how every time I see a tree, all trees have this shape. When you look at a woman's womb, her fallopian tubes are like this. Everything that nature does, nature leaves cues. And I'm like, why am I bothered about finding out some things about whether there's a God or there is no God and everything? And why is that even an argument? Can we just concentrate on being grounded and understanding what works for you? So it's a conversation that sometimes people argue with, they get really triggered by, no, don't tell me about God, I don't want to hear about God. And then somebody say, I believe, so because we cannot talk about spirituality without talking about source. There is no way we can do that. We have to, in one way or the other, bring that conversation in. So for me, nature is another thing that I look to when I'm looking for, because Yogesh, we were programmed as humans, we were programmed with several things. And as we grew up, the things we were programmed with started conflicting with what we were seeing, and it created chaos in our minds. It created conflict in our minds. And that's one thing that people don't admit. When you go on social media, you see several arguments, you see several belief systems. It's no fault of theirs. That's because we've come from different belief systems, different value systems, and everything. But what we can look at to find answers is, when you plant a tree in Nigeria, there is only a way it grows. In the same way, in China, where you are, when you plant a tree in China, it grows the same way. So, what I'm saying is that what is universally true is what I look at for answers, so that all the beliefs and the programs and all the things that they have put in my head to confuse me will become clearer. So that's to answer the question you asked, around being connected to source. And, I think from there we have talked about other things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's what I love what you said about, I am from nature, right? Nature is everything. And the reason a lot of people today are disconnected is because of social media, is
Yeah.
because of computers and so much distraction out there. And I am guilty. I waste I waste 1 hour, 2 hours scrolling on the phone because I'm not getting sleep, and I keep going till the phone hits my face. But that is also causing more disconnection,
Mm,
right? Because
yeah.
we're not silencing the mind. We're letting the mind absorb, 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 absorb. And this has become the biggest disease today. Imagine 2 hours of scrolling where you can do something more productive, like read a book or
Yeah.
be in the present moment, meditate, anything that would bring you more connection. Like we prefer messaging people, but not talking
Mm,
face to face today. Children today
yeah.
don't communicate. Holy, it's like when you think about the future, what's going to happen? Are we even going to talk, or is it just going to be something on our head and we're just like sending the message out? I don't know. I'm like, what, where are we headed with all of this? You know,
And
where
that's
are
a
we headed?
possibility. It's a possibility. You
Like,
know,
where are we headed? I don't get it. Like, I'm afraid for my children. What world are they going to live in? Right?
mm,
Because today there's less focus on being in nature, being in these things, and not using your phone for other than being productive,
yeah.
right? We are slaves. Like for example, what you and me are doing right now, right? We're
Hmm.
being productive. We're sharing knowledge. We're having a conversation around something. We're hope, with the feeling of one day somebody will listen to it. Okay, but when you're just not communicating with anybody, including yourself, because when you're scrolling and doing all other, you're so distracted, you're not in the present moment. How will you? I think today's generation doesn't even pray. A lot of them,
Yeah.
they don't even pray. And when you talk to them about connection and all, they're like, what are you talking about? They're like, be practical. And what they're not
It's the
realizing is
Gen
practical.
Z. That's the Gen Z. Gen
And
Z.
what they're not realizing is practical is being in the moment, is being mindful, right? Is connecting to source. I'm not saying you have to believe in God. Please don't get me wrong. Whatever source means to you, right? For you, someone it's God. For someone it's being in nature. For someone it's something else. Just being in that moment. Like that's when you are so at peace. I've seen you're so at peace because you're just. But we have that mind come up, right? The ego comes in. I haven't done this. I haven't paid my bills. I haven't made that. Da, 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 da. And the doubt, the fear, those two words come in the way. That's when you get disconnected. When you're afraid. Source is love. We are born as love. You cannot have both fear and love at the same time. You can only have one. Have you seen children? Oh my God, they're always happy. They're always curious. They're always like, right?
And they're always fearless.
Exactly. They're fearless. And even if a kid starts crying because he got hurt or something, just show him an ice cream. And you see he'll switch in seconds. He'll be like, ta-dang. And look at us adults. Something happened 20 years ago, and we're still living in that past moment. We're so disconnected from source,
Yeah.
right? When you're
Right.
connected to source, who said who did what happened, nothing matters. That is your spiritual health. Nelson Mandela is the best example of that. How many years was he in prison? Was it
Mm,
36?
yeah.
And he came
26.
out what? He came
Mm,
out and became one of the greatest leaders in our history. Imagine why? Because he was connected. He was spiritually connected when he was in there for 36 years. He understood that, you know, these
yeah.
leaders understand these things. Give you another example. Steve Jobs, he went to India to this one guru. His name is called Neem Karoli. I've I only got to find out about him a couple of years ago. I didn't know about this. Steve Jobs had gone to India to meet him. He was spiritual. Steve Jobs was spiritual, and he gave the same advice to Mark Zuckerberg. Go to this place, even though that guru was not alive anymore. And Mark Zuckerberg went there. You see, what we assume that these big tech people, billionaires, are smart, they take care of their health, their mental health, their spiritual health as well.
Of course. It's just the difference. I think people are just different and their understanding of it is different. And I think
Correct.
we would have to continue with this particular conversation next week because we've not touched on some of the practices, some of the things that one could do to help their spiritual health. And we don't want this to be as we don't want it to be too long. We want people to take this bit by bit and go ahead with it. So yes, I honestly think that we could continue with this conversation because it's very deep. And I'm also thinking that we could even bring a guest next week so that we could just talk about the several types of spiritual practices and how they have a unified message. You know, people can believe in several things and everything, but there is always that love to it. There is always that sense of meaning to it. So I think we'll talk about that next week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that because spiritual, health, spiritual wellness is very deep.
Yeah.
And there's so many different practices to it. Definitely, we can continue this topic next week as well and bring a guest who is more into the spiritual realm. I actually wanted to talk on physics as well because, like, you're a physicist, we're all atoms, right? Everything.
Yeah.
So when I say we are connected with everything, that's what I meant. When we're connected within, right? When we look at our eyes and we look at the universe, it's all the same,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But definitely, we can continue this subject next week because it's very deep. But I'm glad you had a aha moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to tell all our listeners or the people who watch us later, don't forget to leave a comment if you had an aha moment and hashtag replay, share it with anyone you think will get some help out of this. And we look forward to see you next Friday. Thank you so much, Grace, for being here this Friday. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care, everyone.
Definitely.
Bye bye.
Bye.